Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of our Speakeasy podcast. We've got
John.
And I am Ken, and we have a special guest today. We have Dustin from Poor Man's Poison. What's up, Dustin?
Hey, how's it going, guys?
What's
Not
going on,
bad,
man?
Not
How are
bad.
you?
We're pretty happy because Dustin did something pretty cool for us. He sent us some sours, and these aren't just regular sours, are they?
They are not.
They're pretty cool, actually. They've been. Well, Dustin, can you elaborate for us a little bit on what these sours are about here that you had sent us?
Yeah,
and
for sure.
Who they're from and all that fun stuff.
Yeah. Well, so they're made by a brewery called the Rare Barrel, and I'm not the hugest sour guy at all by any stretch of the imagination, but I could totally appreciate them, and I kind of nerd out on it a little bit. So I kind of just wanted to send it just to represent, because I feel like sours are misrepresented generally.
Absolutely, I agree.
So with these, like a lot of sours, every brewery wants to offer a sour just because of the trend as they started to pick up. So everybody will make generally a kettle sour. So like they're using, the lactobacillus that might have been on the grain inherently after the mash, and they leave it hot for, I don't know, a day or longer even.
Is that like forcing it to be a sour, kind of like with the whole adding whatever to it, or how does that work?
I mean, like these sours, these are like a mixed culture fermentation.
Okay.
So unlike like a normal brewery, they're souring it by just leaving the lactobacillus on the grain for a little bit, which creates lactic acid as a byproduct. So that just drops the pH. So if they leave it 100 degrees, within 24 hours, that pH might drop down to like 3. And so then they'll boil that mash back up to kill all the lactobacillus. Then they pump it over and you ferment it like you would on any other clean beer. It doesn't, infect your system, your lines, like the whole brewery. Generally, a sour brewery like this has a separate building. They won't put it anywhere near their clean beer because it'll infect all of everything.
Interesting.
So with these guys, there's actually a cool story of how they started, which we can get into after a little bit. But with these guys, they originally didn't have their own brewery. They would brew a big old batch of just like a golden ale and then bring it to their warehouse, which is just loaded with barrels, and it's a barrel room. And they have a bunch of different cultures in those barrels. Some, they keep reusing the barrels, so like some barrels become like everything that comes out of them is gold, and those, they'll have like lactobacillus, they'll have pediococcus, they'll have, Brettanomyces, other maybe wild yeasts. And so they kind of take notes on how each barrel tastes as it goes without introducing too much oxygen. And then any beer might be anywhere from 6 months to 3 years old, and then they might fruit them, and then the bacteria, everything eats the fruit, and then they'll have a mixing party and then make a blend. And it's like that's a one-off beer that can never be reproduced. And so so that's kind of how these are. One thing about sours, too, is because of that low pH, it's kind of like a palate shock in the beginning. So they recommend, take 3 to 5 sips just to, get your, taste buds used to it. And then you'll start tasting the depth of, the mixed culture. Because, I can't do kettle sours, man. It just tastes like bile.
Yeah.
So with this, it gets pretty deep, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can smell it right off the top, and you're like, ooh.
Yeah.
I don't know about this.
Yeah, so, I mean, don't judge it before a few sips.
Yeah, it makes sense. It's your palate has to adjust to it. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Let's try it.
All
Yeah.
right.
Cheers, Dustin. Cheers. Thanks for sending this, buddy.
Yeah, man.
Really
Thanks for
appreciate it,
having me.
man. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, the post-coffee palate shock for me right there.
Woo.
So, yeah, don't judge it yet.
Right back here.
Yeah.
Right back here.
Just let everything adapt.
I want a gleek. I want a gleek.
Yeah.
I haven't heard that since the 90s, I think.
Yeah, man. They were 90s guys.
It's really, really sour, in your face sour.
Yeah, but it's got a complexity to it. And so
Oh no, I can appreciate it, brother, man. I really can.
not all, but most of their light sours like this are their same, golden ale recipe, very basic. If you use any hops, they're the very old hops, which is kind of weird, just because you have to be able to call it a beer legally. You have to use hops. and then they'll age them. So in this particular one, this is aged, and then they put some passion fruit, orange, and guava. They'll use a lot of fruit
nice.
towards the end of the fermentation, kind of just fruit it up a little bit. And that's why the robust bottles too, because that bacteria, everything in there will like eat everything. So any leftover sugar, like these things will just explode.
And I see this is 7.2%. It's pretty high.
Yeah, I mean anything fermentable will be eaten eventually, especially if it's not kept cold. The other thing too is, I guess, kind of like New England's, you'll see the slurry at the bottom of the bottle.
Yeah.
I mean, normally I try to pour as much as I can without getting to that. Some places will inoculate some of their barrels or do like whole fermentations on a homebrew level with the slurry. So they'll get famous, sour beers and save that slurry and propagate that and use that culture. Like basically like a culture with a resume is how they.
It's like making sourdough bread, man.
Yes.
Just keep reusing that strain, that yeast strain or whatever.
Yeah. Well, I mean, because you're kind of control in that way. You kind of control it. So like any easily fermentable sugars are going to be eaten by the yeast first, because they're the fastest working, But the more complex flavors are going to come from things like Pediococcus, which the bacteria, it's very slow propagating. And so for those numbers to keep up and have something to eat, like you're kind of playing with that balance, and it's crazy, like chemistry and art. And
So is this brewery close to you, or is it somewhere you frequent often?
No, I've only been there once, but I used to.
You have been there.
Yeah, I used to listen to their podcast. There's a brewing network, and then they had the owner of the Rare Barrel started a podcast out of there called the Sour Hour. Actually, I got these beers shipped to me and sent them to you, and then like within 2 months from that, they just got bought by Cellar Maker, which is an amazing like hop artist brewery out of San Francisco. So right now they're actually closed until it says sometime this year they're going to reopen, and basically it'll still be the Rare Barrel but owned by Cellar Maker. So.
Okay. All right. Well, hopefully they're still producing this good liquid. This is fantastic, man.
It's
this
different.
Is really good.
Are you guys starting to get like more of the fruitiness?
It's a different experience, like you said, after that first sip from the second sip and to the next. So,
usually with this, I smell it. I know what it's going to taste like off the bat, and I'm like, I take one sip, and I'm like, nah, I'm good. But you got to keep drinking it.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm actually identifying some of those other flavors the more I have it.
And especially if we got this many different sours, like by the end we'll be like tasting the depth.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're actually doing a few today. We have another one by them, and we have one from New York State with us. So
yes, so basically, just so you guys know, Dustin had sent 2 of these sours to us. He sent us some bourbon, pretty freaking cool. And we also had sent Dustin some of our East Coast sour here from Hudson Valley.
It's a well-known sour brewery.
Yes, they're known for their sour IPAs. We'll talk more on that in a little bit. But we're kind of mixing things up here. We're having a little bit of the beer. We're gonna have a little bit of the bourbon. We're gonna do a little talking, and it's nice to have Dustin back on here.
Yeah, we're just chilling out
If
today.
you haven't caught our other episodes with the guys recently, they had a song release with Let's Go, and that was pretty freaking fun to do. And also Drinks with Poor Man's Poison, and it's pretty damn awesome that Dustin and the guys, they have a love for this stuff like we do, and share that passion. Dustin is a little bit
over the top.
Not a little bit. He's much more knowledgeable, especially about these sours with the beer. So it's pretty cool to hear him, as Dustin would put it, nerd out on some of this stuff. So, but this is fantastic, Dustin. Thank you so much for sending it.
Thanks, man.
But what's new with you, man? What's new with you? What's been going
new,
on,
brother? What's going on, man? How's everything?
Good. Just,
life is busy, huh?
Trying to make music, yeah. I'm just feel so behind. Just been working on Dr. Villain a lot, and then my daughter's 21. She just got married a couple weeks ago, so I was working on a
Congratulations
tune with her. But
that must have been tough to do, man.
How'd that feel?
Yeah.
I don't know. I
It's like bittersweet, right?
I dreaded it like my entire life, I think, and then like it was just like,
And then it happens.
it's just like normal. I don't know, like
Yeah.
I mean, she's a smart kid, and she's got a better head on her shoulders than I did at that age, and I came out pretty okay. So, like, you know, all you could do at this point is just, like, hope you did okay and, like, that it's going to work out.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Absolutely. Congratulations, by the way, to you and your daughter and your whole family. And
thanks, man.
To hear that news, that's exciting. But you had mentioned that she's going to be moving back to Japan, right? She's moving to Japan.
She's lived there for over a year, but she came into the States for the wedding and then flew back shortly after. So, and then me and my wife are leaving day after tomorrow to Japan for a couple weeks just to check it out.
We're glad you snuck us in here, man, because we've been trying to make this work for a little bit, and we're happy it's happening.
Yeah, for sure, man.
Is your daughter's husband from Japan out there?
No, he's from here. They're actually met in high school here in Hanford.
Oh,
so,
high school sweethearts.
But he's in the Air Force and he's stationed there in Okinawa. So there's a chance. There's a chance they move back into the States. You know, like they're thinking November, but I mean, you know, you never know until those orders come. So
yeah.
So I just wanted to take advantage and check out Japan while we can, and so
hell yeah, Tokyo, man, you going there?
Yeah, we fly into Tokyo, so we figured we'd stay there like 4 days or so, and then we'd jump on another plane to Okinawa for the most of the time.
Man,
and then
I'm so jealous, bro. I'm so jealous.
Are you going to visit the birthplace of Mr. Miyagi?
What else is in Okinawa?
Exactly, right?
Yeah, but they built a military base over it, so I don't know.
The village is still there.
Two.
The village is still there.
I watched part 2. Yeah.
It held up in that little hurricane. It's still good. It's still good.
Hey, do you guys watch that Cobra Kai?
Hell yeah.
I freaking love that.
That's good stuff, man.
It's
That brings us right back to the 80s and 90s.
It's so cheesy, like perfectly cheesy. And I'm so all about Johnny, and I love how they reverse that whole
Daniel
thing.
LaRusso is a douchebag, to be honest with you. I mean, he's kind of a douche.
And it's crazy.
I don't like him.
It's crazy because when they do the flashbacks of, like, you know, Johnny's perception of it, it's like, dang, it really. And so I went back and watched the first movie. I'm like, he was a D-bag. Like, Johnny was actually the good guy, and we were, like, misled all my childhood.
Yeah.
I like how they did the spin on it. Mm-hmm. Because it's like the tables have turned.
Yeah.
And they have the children now. And
it's cool that they bring everybody back from the first 3 movies.
Yeah.
I know.
Except for Mr. Miyagi.
Yeah.
Well, we do visit his tombstone, so that's okay.
Yeah.
It's funny when you see, like, Happy Days with Pat Morita, and
yeah, right.
he's got no accent.
Yeah. What a badass.
Just to see, yeah, right?
It's funny. My daughter started watching it, and she's got the biggest crush on Daniel LaRusso in his younger days.
Whoa.
And I'm like, no. Like,
No.
he's like the laughing stock of the boy teen years. Like, no, we don't do that.
Yeah, that's definitely. It's like lately all these reboots too with everything, right?
Yeah.
Fuller House and all that stuff, and you've heard it probably us talk about it on the show here and there. All the reboots.
There's no more original programming anymore. They got to go back to the our time and bring it back.
Yeah, I mean, it's like if it's a hit, you kind of got to milk it, I guess, right?
Yeah.
I can't say we do any different with Poor Man, so.
No. How's everything going with that? Is you guys got some new stuff, or are you still still working on just?
Yeah, we always have things in the works that maybe like, and then as it gets down to the wire, I might hyper focus on certain things, and so those kind of get set to the side. So I got stuff that I set to the side and I haven't revisited yet. The biggest thing has just been with Dr. Villain, with me and
I was going to ask
Ryan.
that. Yeah,
So
I want to see some Dr. Villain stuff, man.
it's like getting pretty crazy and elaborate, but it's all over the place. So we got 3 songs that I'm really trying to wrap up, other than this Japan hiatus. So
now, when you go to Japan, are you going to be able to relax and chill, or is that always going to be in your head?
oh yeah, I can't.
It's always in
I
your
can't
head,
not
right?
thinking about it. So I'm trying to make freshest mixes and balances of where things are at, and I got a new iPad Pro and any random tools I might need so I can try to do work.
Yeah.
So it's not a vacation.
Are you going to look? It's an odd question, but I feel like you look for inspiration anywhere you go, like you did with when you were in New Orleans. And are you going to look for inspiration out in Tokyo or Japan or anywhere out there? Or is that something that you...
It just if it speaks to me, I don't go like purposely looking for it or nothing. Yeah. It's just like if it happens. And then I had a history with horns.
It happens.
But you can't not feel it there. The whole Delta blues, like, geez, man, like it's infectious. Japan, I don't know what to expect, but like I can't not make progress with music. And it's not like a not taking a vacation. It's just life is a vacation with this lately. So I kind of got to take advantage of it.
So what got you into it, Dustin? What got you into music from how old when you started playing? What was your first instrument?
Trombone, like 5th grade.
That would be...
And then I was in jazz band, did that sort of thing. I mean, I always listened to, obviously, rock and, the 90s music. My mom had an acoustic guitar in her closet she would not let anyone touch. And so...
So that means you touched it.
Well, no, I wasn't allowed. I'd get beat down, man. But
I would have said you snuck it out.
No, so I was playing, trombone. She knew I liked music, and I had this little toy guitar with a fishing string on it that was way out of tune. But I'm like, Mom, check this out. And I played her. I learned Lithium by Nirvana.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, listen to this. And then I let her hear the real song. She's like, what? Go get my guitar. And like never looked back. And then let me do the thing. So my bedroom, I actually took the camper shell of a truck, leaned it in my closet, and would pull that out and sleep in that. And then scoot it out of the way so I could have like the drum set and the whole band in the room. Like the sleeping was, we'd figure out where to make that happen. But like music had to happen. And she was supportive and just kind of always pushed. And so everyone played guitar, couldn't find a drummer, so I had to play drums or whatever the case. So just did whatever we had to.
Are you the only musician in your family besides your mom, or do you have siblings that play anything?
I got 3 younger brothers, and they all mess with guitar for sure. My second brother, Josh, actually just built a mountain dulcimer based off of mine. He's built like a cigar box guitars.
Oh, wow.
He makes anything out of wood. So like, but yeah, all of them play like just because, they're around it, but like not in a band or have never like tried to go that route. So
Are they close to you? Are you guys all in the same area, or you see each other all the time? Or?
Yeah, and actually my youngest brother, he's a canine cop. He bought the property across the street. We're out in the country, but across the street from us, so it's pretty cool.
So speaking of country and everything, I know when people think California, they automatically think San Fran, L.A., San Diego.
Surfer dudes.
So you guys, I mean, or you are kind of, I know you've mentioned this, you're on a nut farm kind of, right? Like, or near it, or...
Yeah.
So it was your wife's family owns it? Was that it?
Yeah,
okay.
They do farming, and everything went to permanent crop. Now, I mean, these crops, I guess walnuts, everything's down, but our house is actually on one of their orchards, so half of it is almonds, half's walnuts.
Cool.
But yeah, I mean, we're like right between LA and San Francisco, or even more focused would be like Fresno and Bakersfield, but like hot, flat, all farm fields and dairies, and
no ocean, no mountains.
No, but we're 2 hours from anywhere. It's like that on Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? Like a geographical anomaly. Like we're 2 hours from everywhere.
Yeah. Great movie.
Yeah.
It's like living in New Jersey. In an hour south, we go to the beach, and an hour north, we're hiking in the mountains.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, we got Yosemite within 2 hours. We got Sequoia Mountains.
And you have Vegas within probably a few hours too, right?
6.
6?
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a little farther.
Or you can just go to Fresno and jump on a plane, and it's 45-minute hop.
Oh.
That's the way to do it.
Interesting.
So, have you ever worked on the farm, or do you work personally, or is it just your wife's side of the family kind of thing?
Yeah, just my wife's side. And, her mom basically, like, runs the farm, and she has an older sister that got into, like, went to college for, I don't know, stuff with, like, pesticides, and I don't know what you'd call that, but I'm not too up to speed. And then my wife is actually a school psychologist, so.
Oh. Oh.
So is it nice and quiet out there? A lot of time to think and process and make the music you want to make?
Yeah, but that's why I'm nocturnal, man. It's definitely easier at night between like farm equipment and tractors to like the Naval Air Station and jets flying over during the day. High-speed traffic coming down a country road. Like my chickens, like random noise, and then it's hot. Yeah. And if I'm recording something like Poor Man's Acoustics, like I
know you mentioned that. Yeah.
Kill the AC, kill the fridge, so instantly it gets hot, and all this gear gets hot. So nighttime. That was, yeah.
Me and John were talking about it. We're like, I said he doesn't sleep at night. So when we were trying to schedule and do this, we're like, let's set something for a little bit later. We know you get up a little bit later, which is completely understandable, knowing what you're doing and everything. So it's a different lifestyle. It sounds like.
Yeah.
Man. It sounds like
I just re-gravitate. I try to fix it, and then next thing you know, I'm right back in that.
How does your wife feel about that?
She couldn't be more supportive. I feel guilty and bad when I don't get to sleep by her, but at least like she hates waking up just like me. So like when she gets up for work or something, she's always like pushing the limits. And so, so I'll generally try to stay up till I know she's going to leave for work, then go ahead and prep her coffee and stuff like that. Like make her a fancy cup, husband. And that way it's all ready. Maybe warm up her car and just like handle those things. And then when she goes off, I go to bed.
I hope our wives aren't listening to this.
I know you're making
that doesn't happen
in
my house.
It's the least I could do for what she puts up with,
Yeah.
So. But you're doing all right, brother. I mean, everything that you guys have been producing. Dustin is such a big part of what goes on as far as releasing Poor Man's Poison music and what's involved in the process. I've seen it. We've talked about what he's done and what he does. You can watch videos of him in the process in making the music, and it's something else. You need a lot of talent, and it seems like you need a lot of patience as well.
Or just a lot of computing power and time.
Yeah. I'm sure.
And with that, going back to your daughter's wedding, you guys wrote a song together.
Yeah, she called me.
How'd that come about?
She called and said, "Hey, do you want to do a father-daughter dance?" I'm like, "Well, I mean, I hate dancing. I don't dance, but like it's your wedding, and I'll do whatever the heck you want it to be that day. It's your day." She's like, "Well, that's the only song I haven't figured out. I have a couple in mind, but it made me like cry my eyes out, and so I don't know." I'm like, "Well, what song?" So she told me. I'm like, "All right, let me listen to him, and I'll call you back." So I listened to it. It was like a Billy Ray Cyrus and some other one. And I'm like, man, these songs are pretty bad, but like the lyrics, like the meaning's cool. So I call her. I'm like, hey, I mean, this is what I like, this is what I don't like, but maybe we just redo it and we'll make it from scratch, and then we'll, but it'll be us singing, and that way we'll just dance to our own thing. But like in my mind, I'm like, I shouldn't have to put someone else's words. Like I should just tell her how I feel. Yeah. I want it to be real, but I didn't want to say that because I'm like, what if I can't execute it? I don't want to like promise less, deliver more. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I'll just wait, and then if I nail it or get it a good start and I feel good about it, then I'll share with her like, hey, we're just gonna write our own. So that's what I did, and it was tough. It was tough to get some of the takes, like when I'm just thinking about the situation, and then
of course.
I made like an iCloud document so we can work together. I sent her the file and kind of the melody I was shooting for, like with verses and whatnot, like that I just wrote on a piano, so she has something to kind of follow. And then it was a collaboration type, one of those like, pages, documents on the cloud, so that way she could type on it and then I would see the changes and vice versa.
Right.
So she wrote her verse, and then when she came home, we recorded that, and then like basically the first verse and chorus is me talking to her, second verse and chorus is her talking to me, and then the last chorus is, I mean, it's not really a chorus because nothing repeats, but the last one is us both singing together, kind of talking to each other, or could be taken either way. So
now were you able to get through that dance without a little, maybe a little allergic reaction, a little,
I knew we were going to...
I got dust in my eye.
I wanted to film it for her and put it with the real audio. And then I mixed it in Atmos, too, so it sounds cool in here. But I think I think just drilling it as much as I have to drill something, and little pieces of a song might be repeated for hours and hours as I just like am working on a finer detail of EQ or compression or something. So like I get so numb to whatever it is that it's like I'm not looking at it objectively as like the message and what it was when we wrote it.
Right.
You know, so I was pretty detached by that point. Obviously the moment like it still kind of gets you, but like I thought we'd both be bawling our eyes out, but like I think we were pretty immune by then.
Yeah.
So I videoed it, and actually most of the time I'm just talking to her, and like just I felt like it was my time to like just say those things, you know. That
Now, is that something you think you're going to put on your YouTube channel, or something she wants to produce, or is that something you're just going to keep between the two of you and just that's yours and hers, and that's it?
Yeah, I mean, I told her it's hers. It's whatever the heck she wants to do with it. If she never wants to show anyone on the planet, cool. If she wants to put it out, it's up to her. And she wants to put it out, but I'm like, all right, well, I'll set it all up and we'll distribute it, but we'll distribute it under you, and that way, if anything ever happens with it, at least that way it all goes to her type thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, we had the pleasure of hearing it. It was fantastic. It was really deep. I mean,
Thanks,
there was a lot behind that, and you could feel that love right there, man. It was awesome, really.
And I'll be saving it for my daughter's wedding for.
Yeah, good.
I got two, man. I got twins, so I got to go through that 2 times. I don't know. I'm.
It's tough, man.
Any advice, Dustin? Any advice for John?
I don't know. Save up.
I mean, they're gonna turn 13, so I'm not even ready for like. I don't even want them to like boys yet. You know, boys have to be icky for the next 10 years.
That's what I said too. But then they just like hide it from you, so then you got to like find out other ways. So like you got to keep things open enough where they're okay. Like even Victoria was like hesitant to tell me because she knew I was gonna be hardcore, you know. But I mean, that's what I'm supposed to do. I think there's no other way around it.
So, I mean, we figured you to be relatively around our age. And your daughter's married now. I'm assuming you had her younger in life?
Yeah, I was 20. She's 21.
20.
So I don't know what I am. I was born in 81. I'm, 42? 40,
I don't know what I am.
40.
So you're my age, really.
Yeah.
I was born in 80, so yeah.
Yeah. I always ask my wife how old I am. I can't stop caring after 21 and you can get booze.
At this point, it doesn't matter anymore.
Means you turned 42 this year is when you turned 40.
Okay.
Turned.
Yeah. April 9th. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I'm about to be 46. I had my kids later.
Yeah, wise man.
Me too.
I
Me too.
know, I feel it now though. It's hard to keep up with them.
Yeah.
But I mean, eventually we're going to be, grandparents, and we're at the age now where it's like that's in our near future. Dude.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about that though.
That's scary, bro.
We don't have to think about it.
No.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is I'm happy I have a son.
Yeah. Well, you say that, but I mean, I guess it gets easier then, but I don't know. I don't know if it does. And girls, man, they're just so freaking smart and mature, and the whole time it was like having a person, you know. She taught me how to cook my first thing when she was, I don't know, 5 or 6 or 7. I didn't.
Yeah.
It was tough, man, because I was young and single, since she was 2. So, not knowing how am I gonna pay for something to feed her to get through these few days that I have her coming up, you know, each weekend. How making the ends meet, and I can't afford another room, and she's getting older, I can't be sleeping in the same bed as her, with today's standards. If it was a boy, it wouldn't be as weird, but it's I gotta pre-think what the heck am I gonna do? Music ain't gonna work out. So I set a deadline and then end up going to nursing school to try to give her something, you know what I mean? But the whole time I went vegetarian one time for a year, and she didn't complain a single, she's like, all right, we're gonna eat salads for everything, and was gung-ho about it, and had a...
sounds like you did a great job, and you have a great girl there,
I was lucky, man.
Yeah.
And she could sing. Wow. Something else.
She's got some. She's got some pipes on her.
Yeah.
Must. Like I said, I think I texted you. I was like, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree.
Yeah, except I suck at singing. I could write the stuff, but I shouldn't be the one saying it.
So Dustin,
I beg to differ.
I have to apologize because you had texted the group text with us, and I was away on vacation, so I wasn't. Because of John, he doesn't have an iPhone. Yeah. I only got
the green message.
iPhone. I didn't get any text from anyone who doesn't have an iPhone because I only had the internet connection. So
so it doesn't come through at all because it can't.
I didn't get it until like I got home.
Dang.
So I sent the email. I was like, "Oh, is that you?" I'm like, I didn't know it was you.
Sweet.
And, I thought it might have been you. I'm pretty good. I guessed it. So I'm like, I think it's you and your daughter, but I'm not sure.
Dang, you're good, man.
Well, with all this depressing talk, let's open this bourbon.
Yeah, let's do the
Cheers
bourbon,
up a
brother.
little bit.
Come
Let's-
on.
Cheers. It's not depressing, but like the sentimental talk.
Sentimental,
Yeah.
yes.
Depressing
John's
when you
about to
got
cry.
daughters that you got to like foresee
I know.
that. Sorry about that,
Oh,
buddy.
God.
It's a different world with yeah.
Sweet 16s, proms. Oh God.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this, like, I mean, I don't normally get Jack Daniels, but I came across this and I fell in love with it, man. I thought it was so good. So I went and bought more, and then I matched. Basically, it's a single barrel, a barrel proof, picked by the head distiller of Jack Daniels. And so I made sure I got 2 of the same barrels in the same barrel house, just so we'd be tasting the same one.
Hell yeah, bro. Thank you for sending this, man.
Yeah,
It's really cool.
I mean, it's buff.
And the only thing I'll tell you, man, is, and I had the same outlook when it comes to whiskey and bourbon, is, when you think Jack Daniels, when you think certain whiskeys and bourbon, especially when they have low-end options, you start to have this picture in your head that, oh, Jack Daniels, I'm not going to drink that. Oh, Four Roses, I don't know.
Yeah.
But with these variations and these special releases and these single barrel proof releases, don't knock them until you try them because some of them are fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. It makes sense.
Yeah. And this is pretty high proof, man. We're coming in at 129.7 proof, which is 64.85% alcohol. And I mean, you trying to get us drunk, or what's going on?
It's just what that barrel was, man.
Yeah, no, I'm messing with you, but I am super excited to try this.
Yeah.
Let's get the nose on this. Oh, this is nice.
It tastes a lot better than the percentage
No,
says.
Yeah.
Gosh, that's one of my favorites right now.
Yeah. Well, Dustin,
that's
thanks
nice.
for sending this, man. Cheers, brother.
Cheers.
Yeah.
I would drink it. Cheers, man.
This guy can't wait over here.
Oh, wait,
I mean, I couldn't wait either.
Oh, I didn't even see.
Ooh, that's nice. That's all warm and fuzzy in your chest.
That's one you probably would want, that little spritz of water.
Yeah, and I got it right here.
That's nice. Yeah, this is, what am I getting? Caramel.
Yeah, I love how you guys say that.
This guy comes up with he's like English muffins.
English.
I taste the caramel. Sounds like so caramel.
Yeah, caramel. Blood orange.
But it sounds like silkier if you say like caramel, like.
Yes, it's got the semen of a young whale.
This is yes. Okay. This is so for me, these higher proofs, I prefer a little ice cube.
Yeah.
I guess I'm still on the
Me too. Well,
on the newbie status or the what would you call me?
a bourbon
I'm not a
drinker.
professional yet.
He's a tenderfoot.
A tenderfoot?
No, what do you call it? What's the different variations of beginner?
An amateur. I'm an amateur.
Amateur.
I would throw an ice cube in here.
Yeah, I mean, I throw an ice cube in basically almost all my bourbon.
Well, you know what though? Sitting here like this, I can drink it because we do, not too much. But if I'm gonna like fill it a little bit more,
Yeah.
and I just want to sip it while watching TV, I'm gonna throw it.
No ice cube for me. Just a chaser of water once in a while if I need to do a little water afterwards.
I feel like it opens up a lot with just a little bit of water, whether that be with the melted ice a little bit, like hit that sweet spot. It's, man, I could just go through these bottles, unfortunately, very fast, and which is, I guess, sketchy.
That's not unfortunate.
Well,
unfortunate.
for my liver, maybe it is.
Yeah.
Are you a nightcap guy where you do one like every night when you're hanging out, or?
Yep. Or like throughout the night, or I guess every morning. I don't know how you look at it. Like,
Right.
but yeah, like at 8 in the morning, I'm probably like finishing my last bit of bourbon as I prep my wife's coffee.
Yeah. Because I do. I find myself at night now, like, I'm having one before I go to bed because not only do I get a good sleep, but it just relaxes my body and like I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah.
And then my wife turns to me and she's like, "Do you have a problem?" And I'm like, "No, I just want to go to sleep. I want to sleep."
Sometimes the wives don't understand that. All right, fine, you're having a bourbon as a nightcap, but you're not having 5 beers or 6 beers sometimes. You have it as an alternative.
Right.
And it's actually probably better for you because a bunch of beers, all the carbs, all that stuff.
Yeah,
I guess. Yeah.
You know, this is just a wee bit. That's all.
A little more concentrated. I mean, I'll drink only lately just bourbon just because of how bubbly beers are, but
I know, man. I know.
It's destroying my insides.
Yeah, and I can't burp. It hurts. I just get all bloated.
Yeah, that's right. You were saying that.
So
that's right.
So I'll just sip on bourbon like all night, but I'll get so tied up on, whatever project I'm working on that like I'll forget that I only poured 2 glasses maybe all night, So I'm never drunk or anything.
Yeah.
That or I'm.
Do you have a go-to or
whatever is good enough to drink straight
Just
and with
whatever
ice
you pick?
and in bulk?
Okay.
Hey, by the way, man, every once in a while I'll send Dustin some bourbons. Anything you're looking for, let me know, bro.
I'm curious on that one of those that's on that episode that's coming up.
The Jack, the other Jack.
Yeah.
Oh, the 10-year.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I can send you a sample of that one on the house.
No, don't do that.
I wasn't even allowed to touch the bottle.
Oh dang! I've never even seen that in real life. So
The 10-year, yeah. I'll definitely send you a sample if you want. Next shipment, I'll send you. Just remind me, and I'll send it.
next shipment. It sounds like I'm on like some subscription, probably as often as.
No. Oh, did you try to? I sent Dustin a sample of the Nulu Amberana finish. Did you try it? Were we able to try it or
A
no?
sample of what? Which one?
The Nulu Amberana.
I don't.
Did you not get it? It was with the beer.
No.
You probably threw it out.
No,
no.
I go through all my stuff. No way. Are you kidding me?
Yeah,
I always go through the packaging to make sure I'm not missing something that isn't rattling.
Oh, shoot.
It's good, man.
No, man.
If you could find anything with Aberana in it,
Yeah,
dude,
it's
pick it up.
Nulu Amberana. Yeah,
Dang, that like bums me out super hard right now.
it was $1,000 bottle, man.
Are you kidding?
No, I'm joking.
And he put 500 of it in the tube.
No, it wasn't that much.
What the hell, man? You got to tell me these things.
I did.
What?
I think. Yeah, pretty sure. Look at her past tax.
All right. Shoot. Sorry, man. Dang it.
Just have to send you another one.
No, yeah, right. Yeah.
It was good.
He'll throw another
Ken's
one
like,
in,
yeah,
in
right,
the next
dude.
shipment.
You foot the bill on that.
Meanwhile, the trash man is like, "This is great."
Well, they don't even get out of their truck.
He's
man.
going through your trash every night.
They
now.
got a dumpster. They just like pick that up with a they don't even. If they got to get out of the truck, they probably just won't even pick up the trash.
Yeah.
It's all good. It's all good.
If you do find anything with Amberana, am I saying that right?
Yeah, Amberana. Yeah.
Amberana.
It's
Dude.
like cinnamon vanilla.
It's like cinnamon from the forest
yeah.
of, I don't know, South America.
Brazil.
It's insane,
It's
dude.
Brazilian oak.
All right.
It's fantastic. Yeah, really good, really good.
Crazy.
But this is awesome. This is really good. I thank you once again for sending this.
For sure.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're running out of something, do you just go on to the next, or you're like, I love this so much, I'm going to go pick up another bottle first?
Anytime I like something and I could find it because of how the secondary market is, I'll just buy as much as I can. So
gotcha.
I mean, Costco has 3, but I've only seen 2 variations in our neck of the woods that are made by Barton Distillery, but they're like pretty dang good and they're $18 a bottle. So every stop.
Yeah, Kirkland. Yeah, the Kirkland brand ones. They're pretty hot nowadays. Yeah.
So, and they don't hike the price up because it's Costco. So every time I go, I'll pick up like 6 bottles at a time, or like, anything that I could get. Tommy lives in a tiny little town called Riverdale, and there's a
Riverdale?
Yeah.
Like Archie and Jughead?
Yeah, I guess.
Right?
But it's like super tiny.
You don't know Riverdale?
Lucky for you. But the liquor store owner there owns stores in like a Fresno area, and so he has connections with like distribution, but like no one in Riverdale is buying anything good, you know what I mean? So he had a bunch of Eagle Rare, so the cheapest, and for the cheapest I've seen, like $50 still, but
That's not bad.
so I'll pick up like 4 to 6 bottles of that. Like anytime he gets a case, I'm like, buy them all, dude. I'll give you.
I was in Connecticut in April, and me and my buddies went into this random liquor store, and they had like 6 bottles of Eagle Rare. It was $29.99.
Yeah, see, that's what it's supposed to be.
And my buddy bought one, and he's like, "You gonna buy one?" I was like, "No, I gotta finish what I have." And now I'm like, "God damn it!"
Well, it would have went bad or what? You know?
No, I don't know. See, my mentality right now, and I don't know if it's the fear of my wife or just myself. I need to like finish bourbons before I start buying new ones. I have like 4 or 5, and my wife's like, "You're not getting any more, right?"
I don't have that mentality.
Yeah.
No.
He'd be like, "Yo," he'll go to a store and be like, "You want one? I'm picking this up," and I'm like, "Nah, I got to finish this."
It was an old Granddad 114 that was going for 20-something bucks. I said it's a solid, higher proof whiskey bourbon.
I have that one. That's the one I have,
Yeah, that's a good one.
and
Man.
I want another one. And
I'll sell. I got plenty. I got plenty.
Yeah, you
You
got
want
the
old Granddad too?
Yeah, I've never even tried that.
I
like
it's
old
not.
Granddad,
It's not a super expensive bourbon, but it's
Just good.
It
good.
it exists, so that's cool.
it's a good sipper. Yeah, it's a good sipper, man. Nice nightcap.
Nice.
But, yeah.
Yeah, now I got to go back to Connecticut.
I feel super bummed whenever I like finish a bottle. So like I've got my stash of all my open bottles, and I just kind of like slowly sip off every one because I can't see any one of them go, you know. And it's like kind of spread my flavors. But then once I got a back stock of one, I'll go heavier handed on that particular bottle. So
Yeah.
I don't know if you heard, but we're headed to Kentucky in November.
I did hear that.
We're gonna do the trail.
Yeah, I'm so freaking jealous.
You
Well,
want to come?
You can meet us out
I
there.
wish. I'll probably be in Japan during that time.
November.
Well, we're going November,
Really?
and we're only doing just a few days, Wednesday to Saturday.
Yeah.
So nothing like crazy long.
Send me the details. Maybe that might be
Yeah,
cool. Maybe me and the
come
wife will.
That'd be a cool meetup.
If she's, well, she might be still in school, depending. But
It's actually election week, so I know like we have off on our side here in Jersey.
okay,
So we're leaving Tuesday after election day.
all right.
Wednesday after
Send me those
election day, I'm sorry.
details, man. I mean, if I could make that happen, that'd be awesome,
That'd be crazy.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun.
dude. If you guys,
we're-
if you end up at Buffalo Trace and meet that, what's that guy, Freddie or Frankie or
Freddie,
Fred-
yeah.
Oh, if you meet him, man, I'd get his autograph.
Yeah, right.
That dude's a legend.
Some pictures.
He can sign me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was
get
gonna
a
say
tattoo.
that. Like, I'll tattoo
And then get
it
it
on.
tattooed on you.
You watch Neat. So we had Dustin and I listened to one of our episodes. We were talking about the movie Neat, and what a great movie, right?
Dude.
Or documentary, you know, whatever.
Yeah,
fantastic.
the end of that brought me to tears, man.
Oh, me too. Every time I watch it, I cry. And I've watched it. Let me tell you, I've watched it like 6 times now at this point.
Me too.
It's pretty crazy.
I'll just show even just like some pieces with that dude just talking, and in the end, like just to friends, I'm like, this makes me inspired. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they have other ones like about not. I don't know if it's the same producers, directors, etc., but they have other ones of like Scotch on. I think it was Hulu. I think.
Okay.
But, and not as good as a Neat one though. That one was just fantastic.
Yeah.
So, really good. Really good.
Yeah, but places like Buffalo Trace, they open up their reservation time like 1 month before.
Yeah.
Oh.
So you got to book ahead of time.
So you gotta wait.
Like
so if
and
we're
a
going to
small
November,
window.
it'll probably open in
Yes.
and it goes like that.
It's like booking a reservation to that high-end restaurant that you've been wanting to go to that they only book out a certain. You have to like that morning. You have to be like, all right, book.
So I'm on it every day. I'm like, I know we're still a few months out, but I'm like, just in case, you never know.
yeah,
I'm always on it every day. 'Cause
Yeah. John,
me-
yeah, maybe John. Yeah, you're probably better that you text him the details.
Yeah,
'cause
absolutely, man. Absolutely.
It's gonna be a good time.
I think we're gonna fly into Louisville and then maybe hang out in Frankfurt for a couple days because that's where closer to Buffalo Trace and a couple other ones.
Yeah.
And then go back to Louisville, do whatever's around that area, and then we'll fly home.
dang.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good time.
Yeah.
All right,
We're not gonna share a bed.
that's definitely a bucket list.
No. All right.
Yeah. When I got the go-to from the wife, the Colonel, I was like, all right, I got to jump on it before she changes her mind.
I just want to jump on the whole trip just because you're jumping on a plane. So
Oh,
I know, right?
can I tell you, man? I mean, I talked about it. I'm still
He's already
nauseous.
nervous.
I'm
He was asking me
nauseous.
about Aruba when I was just in Aruba. He's like, Ken, how was the plane? How was everything?
just look up
was
look up the data and the stats, man, and just let that sit at ease.
I did. It's
And then know that your drive, every time you got to record that podcast, you're at greater risk and that it's all going to be all right.
yeah. I know. It's the hand.
I'll hold
it's
his
the
hand
mental.
if he really
yeah,
wants
you just
me
gotta
to.
hold my hand.
That's all right.
Xanax and a bourbon, and I'll be good to go.
Oh, man, that's a downer.
I think we're ready for our next beer, guys. What are we doing next here? What's going on?
Well, I don't. Which one?
Do the New York or whatever.
Oh, let's do the New York.
You said?
You want to do New York?
Yeah, let's do the New York.
Yeah, New York's cool, man.
Let's do it.
I'd like to taste the difference between the this one and the other.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
we're doing it
I
in
feel
between.
like this would be a kettle sour, but because normally it was like no one would put hops with sour because bitterness and sour don't mix, but then sour IPAs started to become a thing, and they were mostly and kind of like New England IPAs. They would use more of the tropical, fruity type characteristics of hops rather than like the old, piney and resiny and yeah.
You're probably right though, Dustin. This probably
Oh, you could
is.
smell the apples though.
Yeah. Let me get the nose on this. Oh wow. It's like a baked apple pie on the nose.
Like a way to probably know is if they make clean beers in that same building, then it's probably kettle sour, I'd guess.
They are known for their sours, but I can't verify for you. I believe that they're, like you said,
Smells like apple
it's
pie.
like the kettle. Oh yeah, apple pie, totally in your nose.
So this is called Silhouette. It's from Hudson Valley Brewery over in Beacon, New York, which is not too far from
No,
us.
not super far.
It is
from
a
us.
brunch style sour IPA with apples and cinnamon, and it's 5%, so it's less than
Oh, yeah.
than these California.
You're not going to get drunk,
sours.
totally drunk
No,
off this one,
no.
so we're all right. Cheers,
Cheers.
Cheers,
Dustin.
fellas.
Cheers, brother.
Cheers.
All right.
And if you don't like it, Ken bought it, not me.
Crazy.
Wow.
It's crazy that it smells like straight apple pie, but you don't really taste that because of like
I get
the acidity.
some. Tell me on your second sip.
Yeah, I guess like at the end, I get some of the finish of the cinnamon for sure.
Keep in mind, we just had some bourbon or whiskey.
Yeah, and
'cause
crazy sour
Jack
too.
Daniels. Yeah. And we're going from that to this. I'm getting a little Big Red on it.
Oh, Big Red. Mm-hmm. No, the cinnamon's not that strong.
It's on the back end, like in the finish, like in the back of your throat.
Yeah.
You feel that cinnamon
But
burn.
But the apple's pretty.
I'm getting tart apple, and they just took some cinnamon and shot it on there, man. That's what I'm getting right now.
I like it.
Yeah.
I'm not a cider guy. Like I'm not an apple guy.
But this is not cider, though. This is sour
no,
IPA.
That's why
yeah.
I'm enjoying it.
But I
This is
mean,
good.
if they use any real apples, I guess there is some amount of cider in there because it's going to get fermented down.
True, absolutely.
And apples, that's why so many ciders you'll see like astronomical alcohol concentration because like everything is fermentable. So like cider, you brew cider and pitch yeast, like it'll finish at a lower gravity than water, like less than 1.
Yeah, that's insane.
So it's crazy. So a lot of them, if you want to taste it with a cider, like they'll back sweeten it and then try to like make sure there's no yeast or whatever, or you keep it cold to make sure it's not going to ferment out that back sweetened.
Right. Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
digging this. I like it.
we know you're the connoisseur of sours, and you're the real deal.
No
with
way,
this
I'm
shit,
not. I'm
but-
not. I just
But what's your honest opinion on this one?
I like it.
Cool.
I mean, sours like it's like every time there's a good mixed culture sour, I want to taste it, but then I'll give it to my wife and she'll drink it. But like I have to experience it.
Yeah.
But there's never a time I'm
That's
gonna
him.
order a sour that I just want. Like I'm gonna drink this whole bottle of sour.
So let me ask you, Dustin, do you find this to be more sour or more
Tart.
IPA, being that it's a sour IPA? So
It
more
tastes
sour,
like-
right?
Yeah, that tart. I don't really get any of the hops like that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna assume IPA.
You'd be looking for that bitter on the IPA. You want to be looking for that,
Yeah.
So you're getting that tart, you're getting that sour taste, but yeah, if you want to have any of that bitterness in there, then I guess that would be more on that IPA side.
Yeah, but I feel like a sour IPA, they're not going to go for the bitterness. They're not going to put the hops in early in the boil to create the IBUs. They're going to just like maybe even only dry hop it like you would an IPA. So you get the fruity aromas of the hops, but not the bitterness and the IBUs.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, not around here, but a lot of the popular sours now are like those thick, fruity, like blue-colored sours or red, or like we had one a couple weeks ago. It was like orange and mango, and it was like
It was a
thick.
milkshake.
Whoa.
Yeah, it was, and that's like the stuff my wife likes, and I can't.
With the lactose and everything, like milkshake.
Oh yeah.
Oh wow.
Oh dude.
Yeah.
You know, they try to make like Magnify's got like a Kool-Aid sour this week, and I'm like, that's
Yeah.
Go
I
too
can't
far.
do that.
But as far as sours go on the East Coast, this is one of the big ones.
Yeah, right. Like now, I totally get the apples and all that.
Yeah. Getting those notes. They're good with that as far as notes go, as far as what they're aiming to do and how they're putting it out there. Yeah.
And you see all that tartness because it kind of just disappeared as you got used to it, and
Yeah.
now you're just like could dive into the flavors.
It's
Exactly.
just it's easy drinking now.
exactly.
But see, I can only do like one of these though. Mm-hmm. I'm not gonna like have a few.
Yeah.
I can't. It's too much.
Yep. I agree.
Yeah. I'm digging it though.
Yeah.
I like it.
Very good.
So, Ken mentioned before. Well, you mentioned too. You used to play the drums,
Yeah. In our last.
and then you stopped.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there, Done for Good was the last band before Poor Man's Poison, if I'm correct?
Yep.
Okay. And basically, it was a restructuring, which kind of formed Poor Man's Poison. Because you were doing the drums, and now you're doing the bass, specifically the stand-up bass.
Yeah.
I'm probably fudging that up, but
Nah,
is
that's
that what
it.
it's called? All right, cool. So there was a reason for those changes. A lot of people who don't, if they don't know Dustin, Dustin has it's tinnitus. Just to get that
Tinnitus.
correctly. Tinnitus. I wasn't 100% sure how to pronounce it. And can you give us a brief education on what that is?
It's basically a constant ringing in the ears. The small hairs in your ear kind of pick up high frequency, but they could be damaged, and basically it's a permanent ringing. And I don't know if it's true or not. In recording school, they would say like, they'd call it tinnitus because it's right around 10 kilohertz as far as the frequency that rings.
Oh.
Which it doesn't sound like 10 kilohertz, and actually it's off tune in each ear for me. But either way, so yeah, I started having that happen. I was running live sound at venues, obviously playing the drums. And I tried to use earplugs, but it's hard to like get a great mix. I mean, you want to be in the moment, but every time like your ears would be ringing, and it takes a day for that to go away. And when it's every night, it was just that level of constant ringing was just getting higher and higher. And it's not super bad, but I just didn't want to get worse. And I'd hear horror stories like ZZ Top, sound guy, got tinnitus, and a bunch of awesome front of house engineers for live sound got it. Like a lot of them would commit suicide to stop the ringing, or one even went like a surgery that severs basically that auditory part of their brain, but like it's super risky surgery, but risk that to be completely deaf or die because it was like unbearable. So I try to sleep with like noise on, like a fan or something like that. But I mean, I'm not around a lot of loud stuff anymore. So with Done for Good, I knew I couldn't do it anymore. It just it's not worth it. When everything I was doing, my education, like everything I spent my time doing involved music in my ears. So to think of me being like 60 or whatever, and like all of a sudden I can't use the only tool that I had to build my life on, was like devastating to think about. So we called it quits with Done for Good, and I wasn't going to play in any band. And then Mike and Ryan hit me up, and they're like, hey, we want to do this. I'm like, I don't want to play in a band or whatever. Like, I'm good. I don't think I'm going to do that. I don't want to commit to that. He's like, well, we're going to do just 2 acoustic shows in our local town here. Just do the 2 shows. I'm like, all right. So I borrowed a bass, and then Tommy borrowed a mandolin. And at the very first practice, like that riff that starts our first album, At the Wind's Will, is that first riff happened. I'm like, dang it. Like, we're going to be a band, I guess.
That's when I thought I was out. You brought me back.
But it was cool because we would just sit on our porch. It didn't take electricity. We'd stand in a circle and it's quiet and jam and just, shout up into the air and like make our harmonies all around each other. It was just like the energy and like how natural it felt was so different than, our rock days. And then our fan base was entirely different. So like rock shows we'd play and like go on tour and maybe we make $100 to like get us to the next spot. And then your biggest fans are like, dude, you guys are awesome. You got a cigarette I could bum? Like that's your fan base. And then now we're poor mans.
That's awesome.
And people are like, it's like, wealthy country people or whatever. And they're like, hey, here's a $200, play this song. And we're like, what the heck? Kind of like, this is a totally different audience. We're doing less work. Like, and it's not loud. So it just kind of happened that way, man.
And you're loving it.
I mean, lucky, yeah.
Yeah. So the bass doesn't affect you anything too much?
No, it's actually really quiet for the most part. And we don't amplify anything. So maybe the loudest thing is, I guess, when I'm slapping it, if I'm plucking it. And I have 2 different basses. One for slapping, that's more like my plywood, my first bass. That's like my beater. And then one that's like a, solid hand-carved, hand oil finish, so there's no lacquer, like a better top, so it's really resonant. And
right.
I'll do any finger parts on recordings with that one and just kind of switch them up in recording.
Yeah.
I don't remember if we discussed it. It's so long ago, and I've had so much alcohol since then. There's a signature on your stand-up bass.
Yeah,
That's Charlie Daniels,
Right,
right?
it's Charlie
yeah.
Daniels.
There's 3
you
of them. So,
that's when you guys open for him.
yeah,
right?
that was actually the last live show we did, man. Charlie Daniels, and he's since passed. But yeah, Charlie Daniels, and then I also got Lee Rocker from the Stray Cats, who pioneered a lot of some of the rockabilly upright bass. I would say pioneered. I don't know my history with all that, but he's respectable. We opened for him down south near San Diego, and so I had him sign it. And then I just finishing the Motel Drive. Jake Finney, their bass player, is, in my eyes, the best bass player I've ever seen in real life. I made him sign it. I videoed him sign it, and he's like feeling bad. He's like, man, I can't write on there. Like, I feel super bad. I'm devaluing your bass. I'm like, nah, you got to sign there, and you got to sign above Lee Rocker, too. And he's like, oh, because that's his hero. He's like, no. I'm like, dude, do it. So
yeah. For those of you who
remember
haven't
the
checked
Charlie
out Motel Drive, awesome stuff.
Since your collab, I've been listening to them more.
yeah, it's different, and but they're homies
good,
from around here. Actually, our Live at the Fox album was our first time we played the Fox Theater and sold it out, and Motel Drive is who played with us that show. So
Oh, really?
Yeah.
All right. Cool tidbit.
Yeah, I always wanted to see the full live recording there, because I only get what I get on YouTube.
yeah, I didn't.
And
It's hard. I mean, video.
it's like when I first asked these guys, I said, "Who sings Crown Vic?"
Yeah, we were talking about that.
I'm like, I feel like it's Tommy.
Tommy doesn't talk. It's not Tommy.
I think it's Tommy.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I heard it on. I was like, oh, maybe I could check it out on the live, but I didn't see. I know he sang it live, but I haven't seen a video with it live. But
Yeah.
trying to figure everything out. So
I think we only got enough footage. I think I found a nearby college or it might have even been a high school that had a film department, and the students, as part of their extra credit, some of them came and filmed, and I put together enough for just that Poor Man song that's on there. Everything else is random footage, and then there's other times we play the Fox. It didn't look as extravagant. But that's from a whole different time. But the live album is like everything. There's just no video to accompany it.
yeah.
So
My kids get a kick out of the River song, the live version.
yeah, that's the best version.
Yeah.
It's like hyper speed, and then Yeah.
And then you got your jokes in there. And
Yeah, that was actually Scotty playing the drums. I'm like, just tell jokes in there. And he's like, are you sure? And he did. And like, there wasn't a laugh at all for the first one he said. Like, no laughs.
Oh, the river song?
Yeah. But then the second one, like I said, we were playing with Motel Drive. And, you know, JD, the lead singer's a firefighter for Kings County. So a lot of fire departments there. So that's why the second one, he's like, tells a fire joke. And like, then everyone laughs.
Jose and Hose B.
Yeah.
My kids crack up every single time.
Yeah.
So it's funny when we're in like the car and we go on drives and you guys are always playing. So obviously, I mean, I have the tattoo. Breaking Benjamin's my band. I don't know. You know Breaking Benjamin?
I didn't think they
know
were
we've
what
talked
they
about it,
are. And I recently heard them like, this is not what I thought Breaking Benjamin was,
Yeah.
judging by the name.
But my kids are like, "Can you shut this off? We like the other band better." And I'm like, "All right." Oh, they get
Sorry,
a kick out of
man.
it because they hate everything I listen to except for you guys. It's hysterical. It's hysterical.
And as you know, his wife is a huge fan as well. So
Oh yeah,
That's cool,
the
man.
Colonel. We call her the Colonel.
yeah,
We're,
yeah,
we've been lucky lately. It's been like young kids that are our fan base, and we'll get emails from parents that like, my kid showed me or whatever. So like, it's the first time that we have something in common to listen to together. So
Yeah,
It's great. It's bonding right there, man. You're creating memories there, man.
yeah,
Do you
somehow
miss playing live at all? Do you
not
miss
even
like, the live shows?
not even the tiniest bit.
No.
There's got to be a high to it, man. Come
No?
on.
Maybe, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure that some of the other guys do. Man, it's a bunch of work, and
It's the
everything
work and the
lands
stress.
on work for me.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I guess some people could just show up and play, and some people actually have to put it together.
yeah, and I can't just like let a sound guy do the thing. Like, it's just it's.
So for those of you who don't know, Dustin is kind of a perfectionist with things, and
Or OCD.
it's pretty OCD. Yeah, but that's all I can
It's
tell
not a
you,
bad thing.
man. Is we think it sounds great, and I think we would think it sounds great if it was live or layered or whatever you do with it. It's been fantastic.
Thanks, man.
And yeah, absolutely, man, absolutely. I think we're gonna do another beer right now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you want to tap into the
Yeah,
last-
let's do it. Let's get things. I mean, I'm just about out here, and
Okay. This one is my favorite of the two rare barrels that we got. So
All right.
same golden ale, golden sour, but this one's with strawberries and rhubarb.
you know
It's like
that
Amish country.
Yeah, well, you know, rhubarb. If you don't make it or cook it right, it's like poisonous or something. Isn't it something with that?
I don't know. I don't know nothing about it.
Yeah, look it up. Yeah, it's something like you got to cook
Take
it or
your word
something
for
else.
it.
It's like deathly or something.
I think a lot of foods are that
unless
way. I think beans technically
It's
are
like-
toxic too until then.
Yeah, just when you're in Japan, watch out when you eat that blowfish.
Yeah.
I think that's another one.
Blowfish.
Oh yeah. That's nice.
All right, so this is Life is Good Today.
Life is good today. all
Golden
right.
sour. Oh God.
See, give me.
Yeah, you do it, dude.
7.4% alcohol. It's a golden sour beer aged in oak barrels with strawberries and rhubarb, like Dustin and I just mentioned. And they have a picnic basket there on a nice plaid blanket.
I like the other one with the poker chips though, because I'm a poker player.
Oh
He's the gambler here.
But I looked up both of these in Untapped, and they scored very, very well.
Really?
People
Very
like
high.
people like these. They're hot.
Yeah.
This brewery is pretty sought after
Oh,
for
you said
sours.
wow.
There's not a ton of sour options. So
Right.
I thought you said low.
No, high.
You said well.
Well, yeah, I said well.
Yeah. Cheers.
This smells funky,
yeah. Cheers.
though, right?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah, it's got some nose to it.
Oh yeah. Strawberries. And I bought quite a few of these before because I mean it's rare to get rare barrel. So for my wife to drink, and this tastes different than how it was originally, just because I mean that fruitiness gets fermented over time, so it's definitely attenuated more since I originally sent them to you. I'm sure.
Yeah, they've been in the fridge for a little bit, but I've been monitoring the temperature, so it's an even 39 degrees. I'm joking.
Either way, at least they pause it. But like you figure that whole ride over to your place, like nice
I know,
and toasty.
Oh, by the way, how was my packaging on those beers I sent you?
Dude, you package awesome, and apparently like stealthy too, because I don't know how I missed that sample.
I wrapped it in, I think, bubble wrap, maybe. I think.
Yeah, you got some clever little like those weird tubes you use.
Yeah.
I feel bad.
Yeah.
Feel bad.
Keep them.
Cutting you're talking about the air tubes, right? With like the
Yeah,
caps.
yeah.
Sometimes like
Yeah.
they're taped on so hardcore, I gotta just cut them open.
Oh, yeah.
But sometimes
Yeah,
I'll
if
like
you have to.
finagle it out super tight. I'm like, dang.
Because you can reuse those, yeah. I have like 1,000 of them, so don't worry.
Holy moly.
Yeah. You know what that is? They're wine bottle protectors. You can buy them on Amazon.
Huh.
And usually when you buy them on Amazon, you get like a little pump. So they come like a stack of like 50 sheets. And you just pump them up. And that's it. And you slide your bottles into. They're inexpensive and they're great for packaging bourbon or beer.
Are you pumping it up after the bottle's in there then?
Nah.
Because how tight
Pump it
some
up
of those
first.
are, I'm like, man, you must have like
I know.
pinned it in there like.
Yeah. I just lube the inside with oil. No, I'm joking.
I don't want to know.
So
This is good, Dustin. This is really good, man. I get the strawberries on this one.
I think I like this one better than the first one.
I did too, but after tasting all these right now, I kind of like the first one more. I feel like the strawberries kind of like have been fermented more, and mine didn't even ever leave the fridge. So I imagine your guys' has got to be a little less fruity.
I don't know. I'm digging it. It's
I like it. I like the notes, but I may agree. I slightly maybe the first one, but
Yeah.
because this has some kind of unique something to it that is throwing me off.
makes the rhubarb maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe the rhubarb. Yeah.
Yeah. So the Rare Barrel, like the cool story of kind of their origin, I guess. New Belgium Brewing. You're familiar with them. They have a sour. Yeah, they have a sour program, like a whole different side that does like La Toire. Or, I don't know. They have like crazy names, but it's just a sour development of New Belgium, and it's all mixed culture fermentation. They do it incredible. It's actually a female brewmaster named Lauren, and she was making some incredible sours. And then she did a collaboration with Vinny from Russian River, and Vinny was doing sours, like a small batch, just a few, oak barrels, and just like with bourbon, how you have the honey barrels, and you know, like that's
absolutely.
Anything that's going to come out of this area of the warehouse in that case.
Yeah. Definitely.
This is like
We've
that
talked about
on
that,
steroids, because like you have that area of the warehouse, but also that culture that's alive in that particular barrel. Whatever comes out of it is gold. Where some might be crazy sour, so you're going to blend some of that sour in to get like the balance that you want. But Lauren had this barrel that she would name the barrels. It was called PH1, and it was like her honey barrel. But they had to purge some barrels, and so they're like, put the ones you want to get rid of over here, and whatever, and I'll get rid of them. Somehow PH1 landed in that pile to get rid of, and when they did the collaboration with Vinny, she was in the Russian River, and then she saw PH1 there, and Vinny ended up having PH1, that awesome barrel, and she told him, he's like, oh, you could have it back or whatever. But bottom line is, it ended up making its way to Jay Goodwin, who was one of the founders of Rare Barrel, and so they had PH1, which they use, I guess, for like dark sours now. But that whole origin, the story of like how each thing develops its own character and creates something magical, like that whole idea is why they called it the Rare Barrel. So
makes sense.
So yeah, so PH1 is, I guess, now at the Rare Barrel, but that's like
It's pretty cool.
That's what started their story, I guess.
Really good though, man. I'm so happy we received these.
Yeah, this is different for us. I like this. This is good.
Change of pace for us, absolutely.
Yeah, man.
Hey, by the way, if you ever come across some Pliny the
I was
Younger,
gonna say the Pliny's. This guy.
Yeah, it's hard, man. I mean, they scaled up maybe last I heard that he didn't distribute anywhere. I've only got to taste it once. When it comes out at the brewery, every day there's a line that goes around the block, and then you're only allowed like one pour, and you can't take any to go.
Listen, there's a lot of hype there, and it's good. I mean, I've had them. I've had the elder. I've had the younger.
I think we've done it on the show.
The elder.
We had the elder on the show. The younger we did.
No, we've had the younger.
You've had So you guys got to try it somehow.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
We have a pal that travels to California once in a blue moon.
Yeah, our buddy Dom has some nice connections.
Our beer
Dom
dealer.
the dealer. Yeah. I
Dom
want to
the
tell him
dealer.
meet this guy.
Dom's a man.
He just knows everybody and talks to nobody at the same time, and that's my kind of person.
Yes.
That's Dom. Yeah.
Yeah, man. I thought it was gonna be all hype because like Pliny the Elder, it's like an old IPA, so I get like it's nostalgia, but like I don't think it is like on the list of best IPAs anymore. But Elder, dude, younger, I was pretty dang blown away, and I think it's like a quad IPA. Like it's an ungodly percentage, but tastes like amazing for what it is.
Here, give me a second.
You know, it's almost like the Alchemist here with like the heady topper, and you know, it's like they're OGs and they're like sought after. But then when you have it, it's like, all right.
Yeah, but that's what set the standard.
It's just old school beer, and that's what started it all.
It's like saying like when you hear the Beatles and you're like, oh, it's pretty basic, but you're like, yeah, but no, but this is what started everything that you like right now. Like this is what inspired that whole direction that everything went. Like, so you have to pay that respect in that way. And that to me is Heady Topper and Pliny the Elder. What the hell,
dude? 10.25% alcohol was the younger.
Wow.
I saved the bottle. I'm a nerd.
Yeah.
But
yeah, and every year is a little different alcohol percent, but that's like pretty. I mean, so that's like probably triple because I think Elder's like 8-9%. You figure your average IPA is like 7.5. So
Santa Rosa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Elder would be a double, so that's probably triple.
Yeah. It was good, but it wasn't like, oh my God, this is the best beer I've ever had. Good, but it was good.
You guys are on the East Coast, man. I know we mentioned before about like East Coast, West Coast, IPAs, and
what do you prefer, man? What's your go-to?
East Coast all day.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
wow,
it's hard.
Yeah. Wow.
And in the beginning, like everyone was, especially here, was so against it because of talking about bad brewing practice, and you shouldn't have haze particles and the polyphenols and whatever, and like it. That just means like you didn't brew proper. You should be able to create a clear beer, but like then you taste the difference, and then you try to develop that haze with proper brewing practice, and it's not freaking easy. I mean, other than using like Vermont strains of yeast where they don't flocculate out of sediment as easy. They do like double dry hopping during high krausen to create biotransformation to keep more haze particles, and then
Did you get that?
there's a lot that goes into it. That's you could judge it by bad brewing practice, but try to recreate it and make it taste that freaking good.
I'm sure, man.
Dude, East Coast murders. So
as long as there's no lactose.
There shouldn't be, man. Unless they say like
no cheating.
Milkshake. Like that's exactly. That's cheating. You should have that fluffy, thick mouthfeel just out of the the hops and the yeast and the byproducts of the yeast, those esters and whatnot.
That's what drew me in. My first beer was like a pina colada beer, and it was like lactosey and like smooth, and I'm like, this is delicious.
And it's a double
I've been missing
IPA.
out on this. Yeah.
It gets tiring real quick.
And then it gets tiring, and then you start going to the breweries that don't use it, and you're like, wow, this is
You have a different
better.
kind of respect for the ones that don't.
I want to taste the hops. I don't want to taste pineapple, the straight milk and gummy bears or whatever you're throwing in there.
Yeah, lactose, I don't think that should belong in anything but a milk stout, but and you could do it without it. Like the most phenomenal, New England style IPAs don't have lactose. But one thing and a common complaint with people, and see kind of in you guys, like how you've been lately craving like the darker lagers, you know, or
I
like
love the dark
to just a
lagers, man.
nice freaking pilsner. That's just a crisp, well brewed, clean beer, but you could taste the malt in there, like just enough, but like crisp and clean. I think it's because when you're doing a New England IPA and you're not having those bittering units, you're not doing the old traditional hops, it kind of limits what hops you can use, because all you can use is these new breeds that are more tropical and fruity flavor forward, because you're not going to fruit your beer. That fruit flavor is coming from the hops. So like, you know, like Mosaic, Citra, freaking Galaxy, like all the ones that we see in all the New Englands, like, but you're throwing out more than half of all the hops in existence because they don't meet the criteria of this fruit forward thing. It wouldn't work in New England, you know? So I think people get burnt out on the awesome tropical flavors, and then you resort back to the old trusted Pilsner.
Yes, exactly.
Absolutely.
I mean,
and it's weird because we probably started out on years ago more on the Pilsners and the lagers, and then we evolved to doing more of the IPAs and the hoppier stuff, and just naturally because of our bodies and our what we can handle, we found ourselves back to Pilsners and lagers and everything again.
Yeah.
It's pretty
full
crazy.
circle,
It's full circle, exactly.
Yeah.
Here we are again. And because of it, as you can see, we evolved even further, and we have bourbon. We have other means to fulfill our alcoholic. No, I'm joking. Our alcoholic tendency. Yeah, what do we need? Whatever it is. We had a few. All right. So,
well, do you have a couple more minutes?
Yeah, for sure.
Right,
As long as my computer keeps running, I'm running solid.
I mean, he's staring at me like, "What are you doing?" But
what,
dude? This is weird to not end with a bourbon.
Oh, he wants more bourbon.
It feels strange.
Hey,
I mean, we got the Maker's
what
Mark.
are you
We
gonna
both
do?
have the Maker's Mark.
Yep.
Right?
Why
not
Makers?
Why not try it?
So before this,
because I have another thing
we
I
had
want to
discussed
ask
doing. I had sent Dustin a Makers that he had got from over here, and we decided, and it was my fault because I totally went over my head that Dustin had sent the Jack Daniels, so we definitely wanted to include that. And we're like, maybe we would just do the Jack Daniels, but now that we had a few in
it just
us,
doesn't feel
we gotta like finish with a bourbon
without ending with a bourbon. It just doesn't feel right.
Like it won't feel resolved.
No, yeah. And then because I have another question I want to ask you. We might as well drink a little bit of the Maker's Mark while we're.
Okay.
Yeah.
Bam, diggity.
Sorry, Dustin, if you weren't planning on having a few today.
Hey, this is breakfast, man. I mean, I'm going. Right. You might as well go pedal to the metal. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But what would
do you have it?
Yeah.
All right. While we get ready to do that, all right. Let's pour this first because I have a question I want to ask you.
Okay.
It's something we were talking about on our episode we just filmed before this. That's going to come out in a few weeks, or a couple weeks, or
which one?
Yeah. Talk about it.
We did a couple episodes before this.
Yeah.
Yeah, crazy.
Yeah.
See, John, you
Well,
just need
no,
your
it
own
is. It's
private plane, dude. Just fly you
I
on
know,
home.
Yeah, I wish.
So, Dustin, full disclosure, I haven't had this one yet at all.
Oh, really?
I think I had mentioned to you before. Yeah, you had just a little. Just a little.
But I try to take my time.
Does that mean it's good or?
Oh yeah, it's good.
So, I before I sent this, I said to Dustin, I'm like, I haven't had it. It's Maker's Mark. It's I said it's a limited release, and I said it's got to be good because these ones are always pretty sought out after. And
so what
like,
is it exactly? It's Maker's Mark.
Yeah, we're including the makers, bro.
What's the
Oh, real quick, this is a 2022 limited release, BRT-01, 109.4 proof, 54.7% alcohol, and it's got a deep caramelized barrel, notes of accented with some toastiness and warm, and has a warm finish.
I
And
think they
you
all
will
have a
feel
warm
it,
finish, but that's okay.
on your nutsack, and it's nice.
I don't know where that came from.
It feels nice and toasty.
What's
Yep.
it smell like?
Smells nice and toasty.
Yes.
Yeah.
What do you got?
Oh wow, that's got some nice nose, man. This is really
That's not burning my nostrils.
No, that's fantastic.
All right, ready?
Hold on,
And I'm not a
trying to-
fan of like
gotta s-
the normal Maker's Mark you see in a store, like we were saying with the Jack Daniels. I'm not a
Like cheapy,
fan.
right?
I
Like-
can't. I
right.
can't do it.
Not even cheapy, but what would you say? Like,
To me, like I look at it as like obviously they're successful enough in creating a beverage and they can do it repeatedly. Like that has repeatability, like on that level
Yeah.
where I can get a bottle and it will taste like the last bottle, which is in and of itself like a feat. But to do that, just like with scotches, you're blending those barrels to create consistency over time, you know, because
Yeah.
every year it tastes different. So, you know, they have awesome honey barrels because they're doing it as good as anyone else could have done it. You know what I mean? Maybe even better, but they have this demand to mix a bunch of crap and put it out because that's like what's expected and what probably pays the bills. But you know, like they just like, man, this is too good. We need to share this. Like, this is
Yeah.
different, you know? So it makes
absolutely.
sense that these places would have something like very nice like this.
Are you getting cinnamon roll on this on the nose?
cinnamon roll?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'm going.
Now
I'm
it will.
stretching it. Yeah, I'm getting.
Just making me hungry.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Cheers, Dustin. All right.
Cheers. I mean, I always get like that caramel,
Yeah.
vanilla,
Okay.
you know.
I'm not,
And in different
more-
balances, though, this is like very smooth and like,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, this is. On the nose, definitely more cinnamon. Not on the palate.
Yeah.
Not on that initial taste there.
I'm not good at descriptors.
This burns more a little bit than the Jack Daniels.
Oh,
Really?
A little heat.
No way.
A little heat, but no. I agree with Dustin, though.
I feel it on my
it's
tongue
gonna-
more than I
goes
feel
out
it on my
smooth.
chest. The Jack Daniels, I felt nice and warm in my chest. The mouth was good. The feel on the back of the tongue, and this just a
Is that
little
on your
heat.
nutsack?
No, not my nutsack. My tongue.
Oh.
Oh, he's had too much.
I feel like
It's still good, though.
I feel like
It's
it's,
still good.
less burn than the other one.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
So
agree.
I might throw 2 ice cubes in this one. I don't know.
I think there's just sours like. I mean,
You think so?
It's
Maybe
pretty.
something's-
I mean, this is pretty far ends of the spectrum that we're like diving into all at once.
Yeah,
so
we're everywhere.
I would not trust
getting-
my palate at all right now, but I can't say I don't enjoy everything.
I'm getting a Snickers on this one, man.
What?
Not getting
Little nuttiness,
Snickers.
sweet caramel.
There's no Snickers.
You
in
get
there for
some
me.
crazy things.
Yeah, I don't know.
I would want Snickers on
I don't know
everything.
if I've told you. I work in sensory now. Yeah, I do. I really do.
Damn, that's freaking good. I'm glad I didn't finish this before you hit me up and you're like, do you have any more of that left? I'm like, yep. I'll pause.
Yeah.
Pause the makers.
Yeah. Now you can finish it.
Yeah, I will. Probably
But the
tonight.
the question I wanted to ask you was, we just did an episode about AI and writing music, and then you mentioned the Beatles, and we were talking about how Paul McCartney's trying
Yeah,
to
Paul McCartney's making
using AI
song
to
with
do a
John
Beatles
Lennon
song
singing and it's not John Lennon singing.
and AI writing, maybe even
Yeah.
TV shows. And
Yeah.
what is your take as a producer, a writer, a
artist.
musician, as an artist on this whole AI thing? Is it positive, negative? Can't
Indifferent.
be positive.
Indifferent.
Indifferent.
Because
Indifferent, really?
It's like with anything, man. I mean, we could like resist any change and like try not to embrace things like with audio. Like if I was stuck in analog and didn't embrace some of the digital, and yeah, there's faults to both, you know. And but we gotta take it as like it's just another color in the palette or another tool in our toolbox, another paintbrush, another flavor that we got to work into our workflow in a way that can bring us to the next level. As far as with the technology, and there's a lot of plugins like they use AI or machine learning. I don't know. AI is a pretty broad term, but machine learning and analyzes all the top music out there and like, you know, could try to master your stuff or make it match whatever standards. but I don't think it'll be like how a human perceives it and would have done for a long time. I don't think people in this profession, I don't think they'll be out of work anytime too soon. But for your average bedroom producer, like, it's leaps and bounds, and it's awesome what can be created. But it's all about that. It's that relationship, right? That everything's that balance. So I feel like if we have enough of those tools and we could do some of that, but have enough experience and could put that human element and like something, real and tangible and like emotional, there's a balance there that could be that next level of awesome, And so I'd try to embrace it.
But do you think it'll ever come down to like somebody writing a song and be like, AI, my girlfriend broke up with me, write me a song. All right, now it's a hit.
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
He's talking about actual writing, yes.
For sure.
But like, is that a positive? I feel like that's almost not cheating, but I don't.
Well, I mean, if you think about like hit songs, like besides Paul McCartney and John Lennon, I think the third top number one songwriter is a guy from Sweden that barely speaks English, and he wrote like from Britney Spears to NSYNC, or I mean, Mac. I'm drawing a blank because of the booze, and I'm trying to think of it. But his name's Max something, and he barely spoke English. And we've looked at like his formula and like what creates a hit, and it's like, always 3 to 4 things happen at any given moment. It's a 5th grade or less reading level. It's very basic and understandable to the masses, right? Never introduce more than one element at any given moment. Try to get to the hook or the best part of the song within 40 seconds of the start, because attention span. So like, even if an AI just analyzed those patterns, it'd be so basic to create something that's so hooky. If Baby Shark can be a freaking song that everyone can't get out of their head, you know what I'm saying? Like, it ain't that hard to do. So the bigger issue is us feeding into it. So like, labels pushing like these, cookie cutter songs that meet the formula criteria, and instead of like real art, right? So, but that's what makes real art real art. It's that boutique thing. It's like, oh, this is the underground thing. Like, this is what I'm into. It's being in the in crowd that's like underground, like,
Yeah.
And then when they get big, or if they get big, like, they're like, oh, I'm not into them anymore. I was into them before they were big,
Right.
So, I don't know, I guess.
So are you embracing AI? Like,
for sure.
Are you evolving?
I
That's
can't
the real
say
question.
that I'm not afraid or hesitant about like where it can go as fast as we could do. I mean, we can't evolve as fast as AI is evolving, right? Like, it took hundreds of thousands of years to get to where we're at, and like we can't even evolve to like having like artificial light, right? So that's why our phones like tune out the blue and like try to get you a circadian rhythm, and it's probably why my shit's all backwards. But
I would just be afraid where maybe one day he's like, I don't need you anymore. AI's got your voice. He can, he can do what I want him to do. And I don't know.
But
we might have 2 more viewers.
I don't know. That human element goes a long way, man. And what makes it beautiful is freaking error,
Yeah.
So until it can mimic error, and I don't know, man. Yeah.
But you know what? The discussion we had when we talked about this, which you'll catch this episode, but where's the emotion? Where's the life experiences to writing that music? We know specifically with you guys. I mean, the shit you guys write is deep, man, and we see like this is not just someone writing music. This is like it's more than that.
Yeah,
it's very deep. We're seeing emotional experiences through your music, your lyrics, everything of that sort. Do you think AI can ever do something of that sort?
For sure.
Depends on what you feed it.
Not for a long time, and I don't think it'll be because it had been done and it's done its research. I think the bigger issue is, like in our case, we write based on experience for sure, and a lot of it is like trauma, like the Ryan went through, and all of us have never been in a better place in our life as far as, financially and just in general, but everyone has more time on their hands. And the only thing you can't run away from is your own mind. And so I think dealing with that is tough. And then it was tough to like have when Ryan I'm like, we need to create new stuff and whatever. And when he has to create content and force himself into this, the only way he knows how to write, into this traumatic past experience for no other reason than to create new music, like, I'm like, you don't need to do that. Like, if you think we can't go to that place and create something as inspirational without going there, then, like, that's a challenge to me, and I'll freaking murder that. Like, tell me I can't do that, and I'll do it, like, 10 times different ways. And better than...
And that can't be easy either, to revisit certain things.
Yeah.
Because it is emotional. And it is past experiences that you've dealt with, or Ryan in particular has dealt with. So and to revisit that,
the mask in the mirror,
it can't be easy.
That's what the mask in the mirror is about, is like... I was actually, the day we did your first podcast, and we all got a little too sloshbuckled, it was one of those days. And
we had a good time.
We had that talk when we ended, about him having to go to that dark place. And he went home, and that was the last time that I know of that he really went there for songwriting purposes. And that's that night he wrote The Mask in the Mirror, and that's what it's about.
Really?
Was it because of us?
It was because of...
All right, here we go.
Yeah, your booze.
John and Ken. Yeah.
You shit us too much stuff.
Mask in the Mirror is one of my favorite songs you guys ever put out, to be honest
I
with you.
freaking love that. And I love how, like, intimate it ends, and, like, I wanted it to be so subtle. I'm like, I want you to just, like you're whispering the words out, and they're barely making it out of your lips, like, falling apart at the end. And so, in the AI terms, like, can it create that story? Yeah. And anyone should be able to create that story without having to go there, but delivering it in a level that's believable and vulnerable. Like, when we record vocals, or when any of the guys record, or because I've only ever recorded myself, if I record, no one can be in the room. Like, no one. I shut down all the lights. I create a vibe, and it's about, like, pulling out that moment and just leaving it all on the table and feeling vulnerable and not being afraid to just let
like an
what
emotional
happens.
Experience. Yeah.
So all four of you aren't in the room at the same time when
no.
you're
Like,
recording a lot of stuff.
It would never happen. Well,
because it's not as personal.
well, like back in the day, like Providence album, for instance, we rented a cabin.
The uplifting.
That was a live,
but
basically.
Yeah, we recorded it live in a circle, like in a cabin that we gutted the furniture from. But the vocals we don't do because it would bleed through whatever, right? So it's just the instruments. So the energy's there and it's us jamming. But when it comes time for that moment for the vocal to shine, like, I'm gonna get a better result if it's just the talent or whoever's performing and like trying to, and like, I know what I'm looking for, and I'll like push them and maybe say some things and just get a few variations and make. The whole time I'm just trying to like picture the big picture and like piece together the pieces of the puzzle to like deliver that message the way that I saw it, or maybe I even saw them do it in the past. I'm like, one time you did this and that stuck in my head. Like, I want to make sure I capture that, like all these shining moments. So I think that would be the hardest thing for AI.
Yeah. See, that's what scares me, because like listening to you guys, like I feel like I almost know, I mean, obviously not 100%, but you know Ryan's background and through his words, like, kind of know what he's been through.
Yeah.
And if you go to AI and be like, hey, this happened to me, this happened to me, this happened to me, this happened to me, write me a song.
Yeah.
And I'll sing it, and people are going to use that as a tool and take advantage of it and take credit for it. And I don't know if that's...
Yeah.
I don't know if we're headed in the right direction with that stuff.
Well, I mean, you won't know the difference because the way it's already been trickled in. So so much stuff is already happening with it, and you don't know what was AI and what wasn't. And eventually it'll be to the point where it's all that, and you didn't know the transition even happened. So if you gravitated to it and you got that message and it spoke to you, like, you won't know the difference, and then it'll only get better.
But the way I look at it, though, personally, is you see someone singing something, there's meaning behind it. It's how you, as an individual, can relate to what that person went through, their life experiences, what they've seen, what they've heard, what they've felt.
Yeah.
And as far as AI, man, it's always going to be something that
I don't know.
I
guess it's about the delivery.
I think that's part of it, is relating to that person that created that music.
Yeah.
Can you relate to a machine? Can you relate to...
Yeah, because don't think of it as a machine. Think of it as like, if you're relating to a person that wrote a song, you're relating to the only way that they can convey what they felt. And it might be limited by their education. They're limited in their vocabulary. Like, there's so many limitations, but how deeply that moment was in their life can't maybe even... impossible to be portrayed by words, right? So imagine a machine that can take every word ever spoken and written and delivered in any sort of medium and do all its research on it and then categorize it in a way that it could just instantly pull up the most meaningful, colorful, visual freaking...
Well, Dustin, that's a very unique perspective on it. Absolutely, yeah.
And eventually it'll be there, man. I mean...
Yeah.
Like, you're stronger than the whiskey song. I've had very, very, very close family members that have had, like, alcohol problems.
Yeah.
And every time I hear it, I'm like, I get teary-eyed, and then I'm like, I'm never drinking again. And then I go home, pour bourbon. I'm like, holy shit, it's me. And then I'm like, wait.
Yeah.
You know, like, can AI create something like that and, like, make me, like is that real, what I just listened to? You know? And I don't know. Yeah. I guess it's the future. It is.
Yeah.
But
there's different ways to look at it.
If you didn't know us, like, you wouldn't know if that song's real or, you know what I mean? Like, and couldn't say that you wouldn't.
And honestly, I mean, we know you, but we
know that's experiences. Yeah, we know. Yeah, we know. But it definitely opens your eyes to it. It definitely gets you thinking. You know.
Yeah. Even if you second guessed yourself about, like, pouring that drink, like. Yeah. That's all it's
and then
for,
hear
man.
me like, guys, can we have one more? You know.
Well, but it's
whatever.
You got to be aware of it first, right? Like,
100%. 100%.
Everyone's different, and everyone responds to things differently, and everyone reacts to things differently, and everyone has their own tolerances in life, and just know what you can do, and that's it.
I think on that note, it's time to wrap up. And Dustin,
before
thank
we
you
start getting
so
really
much.
too deep with things here,
bring everybody back down.
I mean, I know you're the guy to talk to with the AI stuff, and if you think it's negative, positive, like your view on that, I would take seriously than my own view. So.
Yeah,
it's definitely a tool, man. But I definitely feel indifferent, and I can't say I'm not afraid of what.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like the social media and the algorithms there, like that's already out of their hands and control, and it's scary. Yeah. So that will always be the case, but I mean, I'm not.
I guess right now
use
it to your advantage.
Yes.
Use it to your advantage.
Yeah.
But would you use it?
I do use it in a way. Machine learning. So we're not like.
This is not really Dustin. This is AI.
Dustin, are you there? Dustin,
blink twice.
Where are you? Just like the smallest little, like maybe I'm doing a mastering in an EQ, and it takes hundreds of moves into account based on whatever. Like in a way, that's machine learning and categorizes AI. So in that way, I'm using it.
To a different degree, a different level, a different, not necessarily what we're talking about as full on.
Nah,
someone else singing, someone else,
not a thing that we could accomplish. But
yeah,
better guarantee you, I'm not going to lose that human thing. Like that's what makes things matter to me.
Yeah,
absolutely. 100%.
And we feel it, man. We definitely feel it, and we relate to it. And I mean, it's just wonderful what you guys do. It's wonderful what you do, man. You are. We know, and I've said it before, you're a backbone, brother.
Yeah, you're the man, man.
Yeah.
Well, it's a team effort, as my wife says.
It absolutely is. But, you do some great stuff, and we appreciate it.
We appreciate you coming on with us today.
Yeah. Appreciate you guys, man. Thanks for letting me bombard your awesome environment virtually.
Oh, yeah, we'll do this again. We'll do this again when you come back from Japan.
Hey, man, Kentucky, brother. You want to do it?
Yeah, we'll do Kentucky, and then we'll just make our way over to your guys' place for a little while.
Yeah,
and then,
man. Come on. Yeah, absolutely. We have a good time.
Nothing would be better to ever meet up and have a bourbon or a beer together.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Hell yeah.
And John, I still got to convince John for California maybe at some point,
I'm headed.
You're already on planes, dude. That's that.
I might as well just
you got a
keep
place
going
to
around
stay,
the world. So we're there.
Yeah, have a good time, man. Yeah,
so shout out today goes to Dustin's
Rare Barrel. Awesome stuff. We appreciate this, man.
Awesome stuff. Thanks for sending this to us.
Sure,
it was fantastic.
These changed my perception of sours a little bit.
Yeah,
Hudson Valley.
Just the appreciation.
Give it a chance.
That's all.
give it a chance. Anybody like me, you take one sip, and you're like, nah, it's not for me. No, let it. Think about it.
Sips.
It took
Take a few
3
sips,
years to
let it
make.
marinate.
There's something to be appreciated there, you know?
Oh,
100%.
heck yeah, definitely.
Hudson Valley. Shout out to
Jack
Hudson
Daniels. Thanks, Dustin, for sending that, man. That was fantastic.
Valley. Shout out to JD.
And Maker's Mark. Limited
Yeah.
edition.
Definitely.
Shout out to Poor Man's Poison, guys.
And you, dude.
Look at Poor Man's Poison on YouTube.
And we have to keep an
Twitter.
eye out if your daughter ever decides to put that song out there. It was fantastic. She
it'll be
has an
soon.
amazing voice.
Yeah.
And this is another side from Dustin that
Does she have
we
a
haven't
YouTube channel
seen
or
as much
anything,
of. What's that?
Yeah, she does.
Does she have a YouTube channel?
She does. And there's 2 cover songs that I did with her, like recreated for her quite a while back. But I'll try to
You
get
want
you.
to tell our dozens of
Which cover songs
tell,
were it?
te-
I don't even
tell
know.
our
Taylor
dozens
Swift?
of listeners.
If it's Taylor Swift, John's going to get excited right now.
No, not Taylor Swift.
Shake it off. No.
I don't know. There's 2 of them. I'll send you the link. That way, maybe you can put it.
Don't
in the
worry about it.
description.
It's all right. It leads to the anticipation and the excitement that we want.
Maybe
you know?
I'll send you a
So-
snippet of like some of the studio stuff that you never get to see and hear, and then maybe some of the nerdy stuff I got going, and then
I appreciate it, man.
I'll send that link.
It definitely, it just makes us appreciate you even more and more as an individual, as a band. Just seeing what goes into this.
Anything
it's
you want to
definitely-
shout out or say or
Thanks for having me, man. Shout out to you guys.
Yeah.
Yep, thanks
That's
for
it.
being on, bro.
All right, man.
I was looking forward to this for quite some time before the release.
Yeah,
and
it's
Poor
been in the
Man's
talks for a while.
yeah.
Yeah, and we're glad you're a beer and bourbon geek, and I think he's more of a beer geek than we are. But we appreciate all that knowledge, man. You know a lot. You really do.
Have fun in Japan. Send us some pictures. And
Yeah.
All right.
we'll talk again soon when you come back.
For sure, dudes.
Yeah.
All right, man.
All right.
Peace.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Later. All right. That was good.
Yeah. All right, dudes. Well, this place is always a disaster because it's always some work in progress, but this is the stooge where we basically get everything done. It's kind of a rat's nest. As far as recording, we've got like our controllers here. Our monitors. I'm rendering the video right now from the podcast. I've started using these stream decks, which I've designed to kind of automate my workflow a little bit, which has been pretty awesome. It'll perform tasks and kind of just make buttons to streamline a workflow for Pro Tools especially. These are some of the controllers I use for when I'm mixing so that I don't have to rely on a mouse so much. As far as our outboard gear, I've got some vintage compressors like this one here. I've actually modified the LA4. Kind of updated it a bit when I bought that. Some of these other 500 series preamps, EQs, compressors, I've built a handful of them. As well as like all the wiring here, that patch bay. This is how I connect anything to anything at any point in time when we're recording. This summing bus with all the lights right here, I built with a bunch of vintage API transformers in it. It sounds really cool. That preamp that's underneath it, this stereo preamp, I put together to gain back my summing bus outputs, and I created these as variable resistors so I could calibrate my multiple summing buses so that I have the same level going back into Pro Tools when I'm mixing down. This is a cool headphone box I made, the Ghostbuster Trap. And then when we mix, I mix in Atmos, so I had my brother build me an aluminum frame. And that way I could just have the frame where everything could be aligned properly. And then I kind of built that to spec, and then I built these acoustic panels underneath and then wired some LED lights that are controlled in the room. So every light in the room is a smart light that I can create scenes with. But it also helps so it's not so dark underneath that acoustic cloud. And then I have 4 speakers up here, so the sides and then the rears. And these are smart speakers, so they're time aligned to my listening position and EQ'd, so that way everything arrives at the same time at the listening position in the middle here. You can see kind of on the back, they've got like Ethernet control, so I could program them in the software, which is kind of handy. And then obviously the 2 left and right speakers there, and then the center channel, that guy right there. And then I have 2 subs underneath for low frequency. And then, yeah, when I'm mixing, it's kind of like all of it is just coming into this one area here. So try to get a shot of all of it, but actually me and Ryan built this guitar right there, the electric guitar, and then the bass I salvaged. It was all rusted out and made it awesome, actually. And that's what we use on Dr. Villain a lot. These mics were the first mics I built myself. And then I added a transformer and a FET circuit so they saturate, and they sound actually really cool. They're like a medium diaphragm condenser. And I made them as a stereo pair so that way I can, mic up some stereo stuff. My recent build has been this mic. This is a stereo ribbon mic. So it's actually 2 mics stacked on top of each other. So one is facing that way, which would pick up in the front and back, and then this one in the front and back. So that way, when you're facing the mic, it's kind of picking up a stereo pattern in front, and then the stereo pattern behind you, which it just sounds great. And then I added Cinemag transformers into that one, so they sound beautiful. And this is probably the best mic I've ever used. And I built this probably for $1,400 in parts, but it's a mimic of a $11,000 Telefunken EL251. So I added the tube in there. It's got an amazing capsule. And then I built the power supply just so I didn't have to use the Chinese one, and I get better signal to noise ratio. And that's where you select your polar patterns, and then it goes out of there into, whatever channel I want to run to. So, yeah, I mean, that's the gist. The quick and dirty, I guess. All right, dudes. Have a good one. See you sooner than later, hopefully.